question for Branson goes, what stood out about the way he attacked his rehab here, and, you know, his injuries last year? And as far as Trevor goes, you mentioned last week he's become the leader of the room. I was wondering if you could maybe give some example of how he's going about doing that.
Yeah, Branson is a really hard worker. First of all, he came in with some tendonitis, and so it was really hard for him his freshman year to push and get through. There were times at camp he couldn't even run. He never complained. He's just a tough, mentally and physically kid. You know, he's got great parents. They pushed him. He's a great leader, and he's from the time of the injury, he never pouted, cried, and he just understood that was part of the game, and it was a significant injury. So for him to come back and not even get to really go through spring full speed, he did some things in the spring, but he didn't get to go full speed. It's been great having him back from a physical toughness standpoint, a reliability standpoint, ball security, third down pickups, special teams. He's just a really good football player. So I love the way he went about doing things. Etienne he's a natural leader. He's been that way since he was even in Florida. He was that way. He's a very confident kid. He leads by example. He gets up there first. He's hard on guys when he needs to be. He speaks up in front of the team, and he's a tremendous asset.
Yeah, of course, that defensive tackle room seems to be pretty banged up. I'm curious if there have been any young names that have flashed in the absence of some of those older guys.
They're working hard. I wouldn't go as far as say flashing. I mean, they're working hard. They're getting better. Jordan Thomas, Jamal Jarrett, Namdi, all those guys. Nas Johnson. The quality of work they've gotten and the amount of work they've gotten has been inordinate based on years past, where a guy like that would not have gone against maybe the 1-0 line much. He would have gone against maybe the 3-0 line. Well, they've been forced to go against 2s, 3s, 1s. They've gotten a lot of work. Nas has, who's been a staple for us. Christian has. Zay McLeod has, and so has Ward Brinson in terms of that. So those guys all getting back and getting back healthy it's provided us an opportunity to build depth with the younger players.
I'm asking about a couple other young guys, Justin Williams and Joseph Joignier, have two big talented kids out of Texas. What can you tell us about them?
Both working. They're both getting through their first camp, which is not easy here, and I don't set real high expectations like you guys try to do for these kids. I tell them that if they can help and contribute, I want them to, and I think both those guys will help us and contribute this year. To what extent, maybe based on injury, how many snaps we have to play, what packages we play. Justin's probably going to help on special teams before anything else. Joseph has done a tremendous job. You feel like they're older than that because they went through all spring. And Joseph has asserted himself as a physical presence. He's a good sub rusher. He's really physical on the edge. And he's gotten matched up a lot of times against our older offensive tackles, and he holds his own. So we're looking forward to being able to play those guys.
Yeah, with Christian Miller entering his third year in the program now, where have you seen him improve the most this offseason, and what does he need to continue to show to be, I think, an every down player in that defensive line room?
Yeah, I think he is an every down player in that room. I think he's shown that even last year. We had the luxury of some depth, so we didn't have to play him every down. We got to rotate him and play him, but he's been much more dependable, reliable, available might be the best word, because he's been doing a good job of staying healthy and working. He's had some nagging injuries the last couple of years that he didn't get all the way through camp. So availability sometimes is the best ability, and he's been that.
Kirby, is Gunnar Stockton your backup quarterback, and how does he look this preseason?
You know, we have a group of quarterbacks that have done a great job. I think we've got depth at the quarterback position that we're not used to having in terms of guys that have experience, some guys that are young, some guys that have played like Gunnar and Jaden, and they've done a tremendous job. Gunnar's had two of his better scrimmages and had probably his best scrimmage since being here in the last one. I'm really pleased with where all those guys are.
Speaking of quarterback, what kind of chemistry are you seeing Carson develop with some new faces at receiver and tight end? You know, he had his go-to guys, but what kind of chemistry is progressing through camp and as we get ready to closer to the regular season?
Well, I think that's a work in progress because we don't have a complete full deck out there. And I would venture to say everybody in the country is that way because you've got, one wide out, maybe a tight end out, maybe a back out. The next thing you know, you don't have everybody out there. You're really trying to develop two things. Is chemistry with your number ones more important than developing your number twos? And at the expense of chemistry, we want to have depth. And we've done a really good job pushing the envelope with London, Michael Jackson, Sokovie, Nitro, Riddell, Colt Heinrich, making sure they're on the same page as Carson. And sometimes when you do that, you might lose a little continuity or rhythm because you don't have your top guys in there. We've got to force guys to get ready to play that are going to have to play throughout the year, and then try to really get that continuity here in the next week or so.
My question there was about Sokovie, White, Nitro, Tuggle, and what can you tell us about Colt Speed?
I can tell you all three of those guys are really hard workers, very intelligent, extremely athletic. Cole's been a dominant special teams player, and he's going to take on more role this year at receiver on top of being a good special teams player. He's a core product of our system. He came in probably under-recruited, not highly touted. He's gotten better every year. He's really tough. He's really physical. He's really fast. He can dominate on all four phases of special teams, but he's also created a role for himself at wideout. Sokovie and Nitro are still learning. They need to play football. They need to go out there without coaches and have to execute. They're talented football players, but I don't know that they're 100% reliable right now. We have to get more reliability out of them.
Kirby, what has stood out to you about Jonell in his second year in the program?
Yeah, his ability to process information faster. I mean, everything was really fast on Jonell last year in terms of get the call, get lined up, execute. Get the call, get lined up, execute. That was tough, man. I mean, it was like he's going from a system where he never had so many words. He didn't have to learn things. He had rules he had to get, and he took a lot of lumps last year. He learned from Taki. He got frustrated at times, but it's paid off this year in terms of he understands the defense. We're still challenging him to communicate a little better, meaning verbalize things to people in front and behind you, but he does a really good job with see ball, hit ball, cover people, strike people. He's a good football player.
Yeah, what's Dylan Fairchild